Hey guys, this is Smash Adams here with another video, and today I would like to talk about some card tech choices for Chaos Dragons. Reason being is because a lot of people have been asking me since I last updated my Dragon deck, hey Smash, I'm looking for some tech choices that could help me out with tournaments coming up and all that, and that can really work with my deck. Because a lot of people that I knew were running the deck and they said, "Oh, this is great. Can you help me run something more versatile for my deck?" And I just responded, "Yeah, I could try and make a video regarding that, and I could try and help you along the way regarding that." So I just figured I'd make a video. This video is going to be divided into, this actual review is going to be divided into three segments because I'm not only going to be covering the main deck, which I'm doing now, I'm going to be covering the side and the extra deck because there are many things to choose from regarding this deck. Then again, the same thing applies with any deck. But I just thought I would go along with this one because it's my personal favorite, and a lot of people have been asking me for help regarding that. So, anyway, onto the tech choices, and I hope you enjoy. To start off, we're going to start on the far left here. We got Gragnith. Why run Gragnith? Because, well, for three reasons. One, he's a dragon. You can easily get him with Red Eyes' effect. Two, he's a Lightsworn, meaning Solar Recharge. Whenever I think Lightsworn, Solar Recharge. You can dump this card with it and replenish your hand with two cards. At the cost of milling, of course. And plus, his effect is awesome, especially if you have Red Eyes on the field. And he's a one monster tribute. I don't see why you can't run this card at one. I mean, sure, it'll be dead if you run it in like a playset of three, but running one Gragnith won't hurt the deck as much, depending on how many cards you run. Because a lot of people say, oh, most Chaos Dragon decks run 40. I personally run my Dragon deck a different way, and I'll go along with that after I'm done with this segment. So, anyway, moving on from that, Gragnith is actually pretty good. Gains 300 points for every different Lightsworn in your graveyard, excluding Gragnith. Why is that a good effect? Because you need heavy beaters now, guys. You need stuff that can get past like 3,000. That's Blue Eyes attack strength. Speaking of Blue Eyes attack strength, Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon, another good tech choice. Why would you run that? Because even though some extra decks mix Xyz and synchros, well, not that many synchros, but they run mostly Xyz now. Xyz monsters are a big deal now, depending on what deck you go up against. Dragon Rulers in particular, they don't run that many synchros. The main ones they run, Scrap, Black Rose, Crimson, sometimes, Colossal, sometimes, and Stardust, sometimes, and mainly Armory Arm. Anyway, you run this, banish Xyz monsters. Say if you were going in up against Big Eye, for example, that was ready to take control of your Red Eyes. If you were using Chaos Dragons, you would use this card's effect during the battle phase and say, "Forget that, man. You're not going to use Big Eyes on my effect." Even though I like Dragon Rulers, I mean it's tough to get around these. Well, depending on you, it's not that tough, but when I was facing them, they were tough. But anyway, it's a good card. And plus, it's a Blue Eyes, but with an effect that can save itself during the battle phase. You don't necessarily have to use it to banish Xyz monsters and stuff like that, or strong beaters. You can use this effect to save itself during the battle phase. Like, say if someone were to play D Prison or Mirror Force or Sakuretsu Armor or anything to get rid of Galaxy Eyes during the battle phase, you use it. If someone D-prisons it, you banish it. Someone plays Lance on it during the battle phase, and because it's a quick play spell, guys, if they play quick play spells to decrease its attack, you banish it. they drop Honest against a light deck and you're using Galaxy Eyes, you play Galaxy Eyes, banish itself, and save itself from harm, because they're wasting Honest all for nothing. Anyway, third card choice for Tex. Prime Material Dragon. I don't know why you can't run at least one in the side deck. It saves you from burn damage, and plus, it can save your monsters from destruction. It's a one monster tribute. 2400 Dragon with two effects. Save you from burn damage and save you from destruction. Good card, right? Of course. Really good in different dragon decks, in my opinion. You basically say, for example, if your monsters were to get torrentled and you had Red Eyes on the field, you use Red Eyes and then get Prime. Oh, your opponent says, oh, that's all right. Now I can just play Torrential to get rid of your stuff. And you know what I would say to that? I'd say that's fine. I'll just minus a card just to negate your card. And you can do Prime Material Dragon's effect multiple times. This vice versa with the burn damage effect. The only thing is, with the burn damage effect, it applies to both players. So if your opponent were to lose points due to burn damage, they gain points instead too. So, yeah, either way, it's fair, but it's a good card that can save you. So, I mean, how would I know? Because I've played this card multiple times in different dragon decks, which I will update and put up later on. Anyway, now we've got Debris Dragon. Really, really good card. I would honestly say the downside to this card is that its attribute will not really help you that much, depending on the deck you run in Chaos Dragons. I mean, I would personally run this card in either a Disaster Dragon or a Junk deck, because this card does more in Synchro-based decks. But when I think of Debris Dragon, I think instant Black Rose or instant Xyz, because, I mean, the only times I've used this card were with Summoner Monk and Card Trooper. You use that card on Card Trooper, and you still get the mill effect, but the downside is Card Trooper won't get its attack points boosted up. That rule applies, guys, so you can look it up, and you can argue about it all you want, but that's what it says. You can still do the effect with Debris and mill with Card Trooper, but that rule applies, that you can't boost Card Trooper's attack strength. But hey, you're milling cards just to replenish your graveyard with a bunch of monsters that can set your graveyard up to get dragons from your hand or graveyard, right? Because that's what dragons rely on: special summoning and graveyard power. Anyway, Divine Dragon Apocryph. Why you would not run this card, I do not know. I mean, a lot of people would say, oh, and they give some good personal reasons, but my reason being, if I were to run Divine Dragon Apocryph, it's a -1 just to get a dragon. Say if Red Eyes were in the graveyard right now, and you needed it just to get a good field, you would do that. I mean, people would say, oh, but if I -1 card, that could decrease my chances of having a good hand. Not exactly. You minus a card, it's not going to kill you that much. It's one card just to get a dragon. Say, for example, if I drew Galaxy Eyes right now, which would be dead, which would be a dead draw, right? Especially if you had like an open field or something like that. You basically use Divine Dragon, minus Galaxy Eyes from your hand, and then you get Red Eyes from the graveyard, banish Divine Dragon, so on and so forth. You're reborning dragons, right? Exactly. So, my best bet would be to run Divine Dragon at between 2 to 1. Why I would say that? Because depending on what hand you get, it can be dead. So, my best bet, don't try this at 3. I've tried it before, and I just thought, unless this were before September 2012, there's no way this will work consistently at 3. So my best bet, go for at least one or two. Now for the next tech choice. Whitehorn Dragon. Really, really versatile if you run this at 1 in the side deck. Why I personally chose this is because with spellbooks being a big deal now, because the main ones that really benefit the deck are, I believe, Fate, Secrets, because Secrets can, I think it can search out any spellbook. I don't know. I'm not that big on spellbooks. I don't know that much, but I know a few spellbooks that are good. Fate, Secrets, and Judgment. Judgment is expensive for a reason, guys, because this thing can replenish your hand even during the end phase. And it's a crazy cycle. I'm not even going to get into spellbooks right now. This card basically says when it's normal or special summoned, you can banish 5 spells. So basically, if you're going up against spellbooks, that's great, right? And it gets 300 points for those spells. So minus 5 spells from the grave and banish them, 1,500 points. That's a 3,800 beater, right? And you can do this as many times as you choose, just as long as you summon it with the right amount of sacrifices, and special summon it depending on what you've got. Red Eyes or Reborn, depending. Or Pulsar. It's free with Pulsar. But you can try it out if you want. I mean, it's up to you, like I said. Next, we've got Jain. Why run Jain? Because he gets over Thunder King. He gets over cards that are at least around above 1900. Just as long as they're between the 2000 to 1900 scale. I would say run at least... Well, I run 3 in mine. I mean, I'll show you the deck later on. But it's a really good card. The only downside is it mills less cards from the top of your deck just to help your graveyard compared to the other Lightsworns. A lot of people say, oh, it's best to run both Raikou and Lila, but there's some decks out there that have actually done well with running at least 1 to 2 Jains in the main deck. And in my opinion, that's good. If you run more Lightsworns and you get a good amount of cards into the grave and you get a good hand with that draw, that's good. I mean, when I think of him, I think, oh yeah, I can use him for Solar Recharge and all that if I don't have the right field. Or if I were going up against heavy beaters that were 4 stars and above like 1900, just as long as they're not above 2100, because that's the highest it can go, unless you're running Honest. I would do that. But yeah, try Jain out. It's really good. Another card to get, even though it's kind of pricey, because this card is ridiculous in Twilights and Chaos Dragons and Junk decks, and well, mainly Synchro decks too. Plague Spreeder. Why I would run this is because, say if it were to get milled, you can get this card from the graveyard. I mean, if you play Soul Recharge and you milled this after you drew your 2 cards, you can basically send a card from the top of your... Well, you basically send a hand... What am I saying? Getting my words mixed up, guys. Sorry. Anyway, basically, what this card does... Say if you played Soul Recharge and you had a hand that you needed just to go for game and just get it, and all you needed was a Synchro monster, like Scrap Dragon, for example, you'd basically say... Send a card from your hand to the top of the deck, and then some of this from the graveyard, right? The only downside is it's going to get banished. That's what Leviair is for. You can get it back. It's not going to be gone forever. Anyway, when you think of that, Easy Xyz summon, right? I mean, a lot of people recommended that in my deck, and I just thought, yeah, it's okay, but... There are times I would get it, and it wouldn't help me that much. I'm better off running this in Lightsworns. Or Dragonsworns, if I'm lucky enough. But that's for another time. Anyway, next card choice, Purpley Thorny Dragon. Why I would run Purpley Thorny Dragon? Because depending on the field you have, if your cards are destroyed, it could act like as a handy hand trap, because this card is a good dragon to run in certain decks. And it's level 5, so it fits the requirements for Pulsar's effect to kick in if it were sent to the graveyard. And it doesn't necessarily have to kick in when something is destroyed by battle. You can have a multiple amount of monsters destroyed by any card effect. And then you can spam this card out from your hand. I mean, depending on the amount you have. Say if you had 2 of these cards, and like 2 cards were destroyed on your field, 2 purpley thorny dragons, right? Of course. And last card choice, which I picked up from the Hidden Arsenal thing that came out a few weeks ago. Evil Swarm Zahhak. I would personally, I mean, I would run at least, I mean, I really wish this thing were like at least 2,000 attack points or something like that. But either way, it's still a good beat stick. 1850, and basically what it does when it's destroyed by card effects or by battle, pretty much. As long as it's face up, though, it can't be face down for this effect to apply. It has to be face up, guys. Just remember that. Basically, when you do that, you can select 1 level 5 or higher monster on your opponent's field, or any field, and just destroy it altogether. Just as long as it's special summoned, you can apply that effect. If it's not, well, you just lost your chance. But it never hurts to run an 1850 beater. That's why I would run it. Most of the time I really wouldn't care about the effect that much unless I were running into something big. But overall, Evil Swarm Zahhak is a good card. So anyway, that was the first segment of the tech card choice for Chaos Dragons. I'm going to do 2 more, like I said earlier in the vid, and I hope you enjoyed. Peace.